Today we're going to explore two seemingly ordinary quarters that might be hiding in your pocket change or old coin collection right now. These aren't your typical rare coins that make headlines at million-dollar auctions, but rather hidden gems that have surprised many collectors with their unexpected value. First, we'll dive into the fascinating story of the 1967 Washington quarter, a coin that represents a unique transitional period in American coinage. And then we'll uncover the secrets of the 1993 quarter that has some varieties worth significantly more than face value. You might want to grab your magnifying glass and check your coin jars after this. The 1967 Washington quarter holds a special place in American numismatic history, marking a period of significant change in U.S. coin production. To understand why this particular year is noteworthy, we need to travel back to the mid-1960s when the United States was facing a critical coin shortage due to rising silver prices. The silver content in U.S. coins had become worth more than their face value, leading people to hoard them. In response, Congress passed the Coinage Act of 1965, which eliminated silver from dimes and quarters and reduced it in half dollars. This transition period between 1965 and 1967 was chaotic for the U.S. Mint, as they struggled to produce enough of the new copper-nickel-clad coins to meet demand while also combating widespread hoarding. What makes the 1967 quarter particularly interesting is that it was minted without any mint marks. During this three-year period from 1965 to 1967, the U.S. Mint deliberately omitted mint marks from all coins to discourage collecting and hoarding. They wanted to emphasize that coins were meant for circulation, not for collectors. This decision was unprecedented in modern U.S. coinage and makes these years distinctive from other quarters in the Washington series. The 1967 quarter is composed of a pure copper core sandwiched between two layers of copper-nickel, 75% copper, 25% nickel on the outer layers, giving it that distinctive sandwich edge that differs from the earlier silver quarters. While most 1967 quarters are worth only their face value of 25 cents, there are some exceptional specimens and error varieties that command substantial premiums. The most valuable 1967 quarters are typically those with striking errors or in pristine mint state condition. For instance, a 1967 quarter with a significant double die obverse error can fetch anywhere from $100 to over $1,000 depending on the severity of the doubling and the coin's condition. Off-center strikes, where the design is not properly centered on the planchet, can also be valuable, with prices ranging from $50 to several $100s depending on how much of the design is missing. The market value for regular 1967 quarters varies dramatically based on condition. In circulated grades, even in extremely fine condition, these quarters typically sell for just 25 to 50 cents. However, in uncirculated mint state grades, the value increases significantly. A 1967 quarter graded MS-60 might sell for $1 to $2, while one in MS-65 condition could command $15 to $25. The real jump in value comes with higher grades. A 1967 quarter in MS-67 condition, which represents a nearly perfect coin with no visible flaws under magnification, can sell for $300 to $500. In the highest grades, MS-67 Plus and above, prices can exceed $1,000, with auction records showing some specimens selling for as much as $2,300 when they possess exceptional eye appeal and are certified by top grading services. One fascinating aspect of the 1967 quarter is the Special Mint Set, SMS, coins produced by the U.S. Mint during this period. These coins were struck with specially prepared dies on polished planchets, resulting in a finish that was finer than regular circulation strikes, but not quite as brilliant as proof coins. The 1967 SMS quarters are particularly scarce and valuable. A 1967 SMS quarter in SP68 condition can sell for $1,500 to $2,000, with the finest known specimens commanding even higher prices. These SMS coins were not sold individually, but were part of special mint sets, making them relatively rare compared to regular circulation strikes. An interesting story surrounding the 1967 quarter involves the no-S proof variety. While no regular proof sets were produced in 1967, the U.S. Mint did create a small number of special prototype proof coins that year. In 2017, A collector discovered what appeared to be a 1967 S-proof quarter without the mint mark. After authentication by grading services, it was confirmed to be an extremely rare error coin, one of only a handful known to exist. This discovery created quite a stir in the numismatic community, and the coin eventually sold at auction for over $20,000, highlighting how even seemingly modern coins can hold surprises for dedicated collectors. Condition plays a crucial role in determining the value of 1967 quarters. As with most coins, the difference between a circulated example and an uncirculated one can be substantial. For regular business, strike 1967 quarters, even those with light wear, known as about uncirculated or AU, typically sell for less than $1. The value begins to increase noticeably in mint state grades, with MS-63 examples bringing $3 to $5, MS-65 examples commanding $15 to $25, and MS-67 examples reaching several $100s. The jump in value at higher grades reflects the difficulty of finding these coins in pristine condition after more than 5 decades. Most 1967 quarters entered circulation immediately after minting and show varying degrees of wear, making high-grade examples particularly desirable to collectors. For those who might have 1967 quarters in their possession, it's worth examining them carefully for any signs of errors or varieties. Look for doubling on the lettering, particularly on "In God We Trust" or "Liberty." Check the rim for any irregularities that might indicate an off-center strike. Examine the surface for any unusual marks or features that might suggest a mint error. While most 1967 quarters won't be valuable, finding one with a significant error or in pristine condition could be a pleasant surprise. And remember, even if your 1967 quarter isn't worth a fortune, it still represents an important piece of American numismatic history from a time of transition in U.S. coinage. Now let's turn our attention to a coin from a much more recent era that has quietly developed a passionate following among collectors, the 1993 Washington quarter. While 1993 might seem too modern to hold any significant numismatic value, this particular year from the Philadelphia Mint holds a fascinating secret that has transformed ordinary pocket change into highly sought-after treasures. The story of the 1993 quarter revolves around a captivating die variety affectionately nicknamed the Spitting Horse, a subtle but dramatic error that has captured the imagination of collectors and demonstrates that remarkable discoveries can still be made in modern coinage. The historical context of the 1993 quarter places it firmly within the modern era of U.S. coin production. By the early 1990s, the U.S. Mint had perfected its mass production techniques, churning out billions of coins annually with remarkable consistency. The Washington quarter design, introduced back in 1932 to commemorate George Washington's 200th birthday, had become a familiar fixture in American commerce. The 1993 quarters were struck at the Philadelphia Mint, bearing no mint mark, and the Denver Mint, bearing a D mint mark, with Philadelphia producing the vast majority of the coins that year, over 700 million quarters in total. These coins were made from the same copper-nickel clad composition introduced in 1965, consisting of a pure copper core bonded to outer layers of 75% copper and 25% nickel. Nothing about the official minting records for 1993 suggests anything unusual. It was simply another year in the long-running Washington quarter series, destined for circulation and eventual wear in pockets and cash registers across America. What makes certain 1993 P quarters extraordinary is a remarkable die error that occurred during the production process at the Philadelphia Mint. This error manifests as a prominent die crack extending from the horse's mouth on the reverse of the coin, creating the distinct illusion that the horse depicted on the design is actually spitting. The reverse design, featuring a majestic eagle rather than a horse, might make this nickname confusing at first glance, but the horse in question refers to the steed being ridden by General George Washington on the obverse of the coin. The die crack appears precisely where Washington's horse would be exhaling or salivating, giving the appearance of a stream of liquid or vapor emanating from the animal's mouth. This die crack developed due to metal fatigue in the die itself, a common occurrence in high-volume production, but its location and appearance created something truly unique. The crack typically runs diagonally downward from near the horse's lips toward its chin, and in the most dramatic examples, it appears as a thick, raised line that stands out clearly even to the naked eye. Identifying the 1993 spitting horse variety requires careful examination, but once you know what to look for, it becomes relatively straightforward. The key feature is that distinctive die crack near the horse's mouth on the obverse. It's important to note that this is not a design element, but rather a production error that occurred on specific dies used at the Philadelphia Mint. Not all 1993 P quarters display this characteristic, only those struck from dies that had developed this particular crack. The variety was discovered relatively recently, around 2005, by sharp-eyed collectors who noticed something unusual about certain 1993 quarters. Since its discovery, it has been cataloged by major variety attribution services like Kanika, Combined Organizations of Numismatic Error Collectors of America, and has gained significant recognition in the numismatic community. The die crack can vary in prominence from specimen to specimen, ranging from a faint hairline to a bold, jagged line that dramatically alters the appearance of Washington's horse. The market value of the 1993 spitting horse quarter has evolved significantly since its discovery. Initially, these coins flew under the radar, often overlooked even by experienced dealers. As awareness grew and collectors began actively seeking them out, prices began to climb. Today, the value depends heavily on the condition of the coin and the prominence of the die crack. In circulated grades, even with a clear spitting horse feature, these quarters typically sell for $25 to $75, as most examples entered circulation before the variety was recognized. The real value emerges in uncirculated grades. A 1993 P spitting horse in mint state 63 condition, MS63, might bring $100 to $200, while an MS65 example could command $400 to $800. In higher grades, the value increases exponentially. A top-grade MS67 spitting horse with a bold, well-defined die crack and exceptional eye appeal can sell for $2,000 to $4,000 at auction. The record price for this variety was set in 2020 when a spectacular MS67 Plus example with a dramatic die crack sold for over $5,000, demonstrating just how much collectors prize this modern rarity. One of the most fascinating aspects of the spitting horse variety is how it remained hidden in plain sight for over a decade. With hundreds of millions of 1993 P quarters produced, one might assume such a distinctive variety would have been noticed immediately. However, the subtle nature of the die crack, combined with the fact that most collectors weren't closely examining common modern quarters, allowed it to escape detection until 2005. The discovery is credited to a collector named Tom DeLory, who noticed the anomaly while examining a roll of 1993 quarters. His find was initially met with skepticism in some corners of the numismatic community, but as more examples surfaced and were authenticated, the variety gained legitimacy. Today, this spitting horse has become one of the most sought-after modern quarter varieties, with collectors meticulously searching through bank rolls and old collections hoping to find one. It's a testament to the fact that numismatic discoveries aren't limited to ancient coins or 19th century rarities. Sometimes, the most exciting finds are hiding in the most recent issues. Condition plays an absolutely critical role in determining the value of the 1993 spitting horse quarter, perhaps even more so than with many other varieties. Because this variety wasn't recognized until 12 years after the coins were minted, virtually all examples had entered circulation by the time collectors began looking for them. Finding an uncirculated specimen is challenging enough, but finding one in gem condition is exceptionally difficult. In circulated grades, even with a prominent die crack, values remain modest because wear tends to soften the details and make the die crack less distinct. An about uncirculated AU example with a clear spitting horse might sell for $50 to $100. The value begins to increase significantly in mint state grades. An MS60 example could bring $150 to $250, while an MS63 might command $300 to $500. The real jump occurs at MS65, where prices typically range from $800 to $1,500. In MS66 condition, expect to pay $2,000 to $3,500 for a quality specimen. The finest known examples, graded MS67 or higher, are true trophies for advanced collectors, with prices regularly exceeding $4,000 and reaching as high as $5,000 or more for truly exceptional pieces with bold die cracks and pristine surfaces. The 1993 Spitting Horse quarter serves as a powerful reminder that valuable numismatic discoveries can happen at any time, even with coins from our own lifetime. It demonstrates that rarity and value aren't solely determined by age or precious metal content, but by the unique stories and characteristics that make a particular coin stand out from the millions of others just like it. In many ways, the Spitting Horse represents the perfect intersection of accessibility and excitement. It's a coin that virtually anyone could potentially find, yet one that commands respect and significant value in the collector market. For those of us who love the thrill of the hunt, the possibility that such treasures might be hiding in plain sight is what keeps the hobby of coin collecting endlessly fascinating and rewarding.